Hello, I'm Matthew Sheehan, and together with my colleague Elaine Bunting, we've been looking at chart plotters. Now, here's a typical one. This is what obviously many boats have nowadays, a typical digitised chart plotter. But one of the things that's changed very rapidly is the introduction of these iPads and tablets. They're everywhere. But one of the things that's happening on boats is that we're seeing more and more chart plotters on the iPads themselves. And what we came out to have a look at over a couple of days was what different chart plotters there are available for iPads and tablets, how they worked and whether they fitted into particular categories. But the first thing we started with was we looked at iPads and chart plotting that is dedicated to the iPad. There are lots of ways of linking your iPad to your instrument system, but that's a different subject. What we concentrated on was downloading and testing a range of chart plotters that you just load onto your machine and walk away with. Here I have a typical one here. This happens to be a Navionics one, and it's actually got the same chart system as this one, but I downloaded it onto the iPad, and you can zoom in, zoom out, move around. You can set routes, you can see your route plan, you can see how fast you're going, when you're going to get to your destination. You can do many of the functions that you can have on a dedicated chart plotter. But there are differences, and as I say, we spent a couple of days here looking at those differences and with a view to putting together a review in the May issue of the magazine.
It was the realization that modern chart plotting software could turn the iPad into a perfect standalone chart plotter that convinced me the iPad made economic sense in the first place. It really is an ideal portable GPS chart plotter for small boats particularly, or if you're off on a charter or doing some passage planning. It also means then that you don't have to take your laptop away for the weekend, because you then have email, word processing, you can use Skype, you can stream video if you've got a Wi-Fi connection. So it sort of all made sense. One thing that people do ask me a lot is how good is the GPS accuracy? And the answer to that is it's excellent. You don't need a mobile phone signal. That's the really important thing. If you don't have a signal, it works absolutely fine. You can even turn your 3G connection off. That doesn't make any difference at all. But the one thing you do have to know is that when you come to choose an iPad for running charting software, you need to get the 3G version, because that's the one with the built-in GPS aerial. So you don't need 3G, but it has the GPS aerial. The Wi-Fi only one just simply won't do the job. The other thing you need to know when you're choosing an iPad is to get one of the versions that has slightly larger amount of memory, because if you have a lot of charts on your iPad, it all starts to use up a lot of the internal memory. It's all stored locally on your iPad. That's how come the GPS signal can place you. So it makes sense by the time you've stored lots of other things that you have quite a lot of memory for it. As soon as you've got that and you've got the 3G version, you're good to go.
So what should you look for when you're considering some digital charts for an iPad? Here are some of the things that we found through our test. The first thing is the broad choice will be between what they call Raster Charts, which are like photocopied scan charts but in an electronic form, and digitized charts, where the charts are made up of digitizing all the information. They're the two broad types. The digitized charts, there's many more of those to choose from. The Raster Charts, the big advantage of those is that they look just like the paper charts that you'll be used to. So typically Imray and Admiralty both have raster versions of their charts. The downside is that they have less functionality. But if you just want to look at charts that you're going to have in a paper form on your iPad, then those kind of chart plotters are fine. But for most people, it'll be the digitized charts. And here are just a few of the things that we found when we were looking through that we think are quite important when you're looking at these charts. The first thing is the ease of the display. How easily can you understand the chart? How quickly does it zoom in and out? And how easily does the new information display? You might be surprised at what a difference there is between various chart manufacturers. Seamless zooming is another important thing. How easily does the display transfer from zoomed in to fully out all the other ways? Some of them take quite a long time to zoom in and out, and can be quite frustrating. Another issue is if you're recording a track, if you want to have a trail on your chart and be able to see where you've been, which is very useful indeed, some of them stop doing that recording process when the screen goes to sleep, or you switch into another application, and that can be very annoying because you go back into it having gone to look at an email or something only to find that your track isn't there. So that's definitely worth looking out for. But one of the key things is how easy is it to actually make a route and then to change the route. And you'd be quite surprised at the range of different approaches to this from various manufacturers. Try and make a route by tapping the screen and see how easy that is. Once you've made the route, then have a look and see how easy it is to actually alter those waypoints, because the chances are you won't get it right first time. You'll need to zoom out or zoom in and just adjust it. And some of the systems won't allow you to do that very easily. There are lots of other functions and features that you can look out for, but those are some of the most important ones that we found during the test. But to find out which of the chart plotters were our favourites, take a look at the May issue of Yachting World, where we have the feature and all the test results in full.